The VRChat community and the number of Unity developers out there is massive, and low poly modeling is fast, fun, and incredibly rewarding. You can go from concept to fully finished character in just days. Plus, low poly characters are lightweight and optimized, making them perfect for real-time applications like VRChat and indie games. Despite that though, it feels like so many VRChat tutorials out there are years out of date, lacking critical information, or overall just not clearly structured. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you every step in the process required to convert your low poly characters into VRChat. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the prerequisites for this VRChat series. First and foremost, obviously you're going to need Blender to do this process. Unsurprisingly, as long as you're using Blender 5.0 or above, you should be good to go as far as I know. I'm just using the Steam version for this tutorial series. However, you can just download that from the website as well, obviously, and that's fine. Next up, we're going to need the Unity Hub, and then we're going to be using the VRChat official application, the VRChat Creator Companion. You can think of it as something that helps communicate with Unity and helps organize your projects and all that stuff. That's what we're going to need here. We'll go more in depth in this part in the next video, but let's talk a little bit more in depth about this stuff right here. Something to keep in mind about VRChat is that it has a performance ranking system. You can see a lot more details about this. There's an excellent, good, medium, poor, and very poor performance ranking, and there's a lot of things it takes into account to make sure an avatar is nice in performance on the client. There are triangles limits, so you can see that there are 2,000 or less is excellent. It basically kind of just rounds off after 70,000. There's also things like texture memories, how big your textures are, how many skinned meshes you have. Those are all really important things to look into and research if you're ever curious, like, wait a second, can I even run mine on Quest, for example, because Quest has much lower limits. This changes often. It is a lot of information, so I will actually link this below if you want to get more information on that. Second thing to know about is that VRChat has a trust rank system, and what that essentially means is that as you are new to using VRChat, if you've not been very experienced, it's going to be a lot harder for other users to see your avatars. You need, I believe it's roughly like 25, 30, 40 hours of in-game time. I would highly recommend reading more in depth on this because it shows you exactly the kind of things you're limited to do until you get to certain trust ranks. If you're brand new to VRChat, this is something that's definitely worth looking into here because the trust system is very important and will allow other people to actually see your avatars, but they're just in place to help protect people because you can actually make avatars that just absolutely destroy performance if VRChat is not careful about how they screen these things, which totally makes sense. If you're passionate about making your own characters for VRChat, I think you're going to absolutely love what I'm working on. Alongside the free version of the series that's available right here on YouTube, I'm also creating an extended version with exclusive additions. As of now, it already includes downloadable versions of all the videos in this series as they're released. Most importantly, this extended version is a living, breathing project, and more exclusive content will be added, like the full final Unity scene, completely for free. Right now, because it just dropped, it's available for a big discount, so make sure to click that link in the description below to learn more. Next up, this blend file and the textures within are going to be a really great resource for you to reference as you're making your character. So let's open that up right now. So here's how Love-chan, this version of her, looks in Blender here. So there's going to notice a few differences from the Love-chan we've been making in this tutorial series. She has a different skeleton, which is the most important part. We can actually view the names for all these bones by clicking Show Names right here. This is just in the Object Data Properties tab. Hide those and select all these, press H to hide. And these are the only bones on our entire model. This isn't like a complicated Rigify bone structure where there's a bunch of different things that kind of determine how twists happen and all that stuff. That's fine. Rigify is really good when you're doing things in Blender, but when you're exporting things at game engines, it's not an ideal process because it's way, way too much. It's way too heavy. This is kind of the bone structure we're going to be doing for this series. This is a base point that we can reference for getting things in Unity. So you can see that the main bone right here is this hips bone. This is the bone that everything is a child of, basically. If we open up our armature here, you can see that it's the hips bone. Then from that bone, I extruded out from it to make the spine, the chest, and then after that, if I wanted to do things like the zipper, I would just have them be children of that chest bone. Same with this shoulder bone right here. This is a child of this chest bone. And all I did was I probably just duplicated it and then changed its parents to chest, just like that. So this is really not too hard of a skeleton to make, considering everything we just talked about in the Advanced Fundamental series. If you did not watch that, I'd highly recommend you watch it. I created all these leg bones, these toe bones, chest bones, shoulder bones, upper arm, forearm, and hand. That's kind of the structure we have for Love-Chan here. If you have fingers, by all means, you can create a hand bone, or excuse me, finger bones for your hand, but that's a little bit more complicated and not something we're going to be touching on at the moment, but it's really not too complicated. This process for setting up fingers is the same as process as setting up any other bones in VRChat here. That's kind of what we did. There's a few changes I make to the model as well, because, for example, under here, you could see into her shorts, because this was not properly filled in. So there's a lot of filling in holes, and something very important that you're going to need to make sure to do with your model is go to this little drop down right here and then do face orientation, turn that on, because if you turn this on, let's just go to material view so you can just make it a lot more clear. If you see these big red chunks right here, unless you have backface culling enabled in engine, which you probably won't by default, these are going to be totally invisible, which is a problem. You don't want that. Before you export your model here, it's very, very important to make sure you have face orientation enabled and say like, okay, are there any holes on my model that as I deform around, it's going to make things look really bad potentially. Something really important check as well, ensuring that your character model does not have n-gons. So to do that, you can just select all your objects in object mode, then go to edit mode here. Then you go to select by trait, faces by sides, greater than 4. And then you can see right here, these are definitely n-gons. We would want to fill these in ideally. Absolutely should not have those in your character models, because it can really cause strange issues when you're rigging, exporting things, and so much more. Something else you might want to check is on your own models, making sure that you merge by distance. You can see we remove 15 vertices here. You want to be careful with this because sometimes that can actually remove things that you don't want it to, which it did in our case here when we just did that. But that's a great way to also troubleshoot potential rigging issues that pop up as that merge by distance command. So yeah, this is kind of your North Star, your thing to reference for your own low poly models here. I would recommend starting something very simple initially, either like actually just the Love-Chan model and converting it over. Nothing too complicated. You don't even need hair bones or anything like that I have here. It's not necessary at all. And right here, you can see that these are the brand new textures for Love-Chan, because originally her face texture looked like this, which was very problematic. This is not evenly spaced on the UV grid, and it's the second pixel amount here, because this is 1024 by 209. That is in a non-power of 2, which would cause so many problems in the game engine. These are the Viseme mouth shapes we ended up going with, and feel free to reference these for your own face textures if you'd like. Something you also might want to reference is the layout of these face textures, because these are perfectly following the UV grid, right? Which is really nice because as we set up UV animation on her face here, because everything's perfectly spaced out, we can do very clean intervals. I'll show you what that kind of looks like. This is a wonderful video by Lacruzo that breaks this down in a lot of depth, which I'll also try to link below here. But you can see that because things are perfectly laid out to this square UV grid, which you'll see right here, the face textures are put onto this grid evenly. It means that as we animate between these, we can snap to these different locations with very clean numbers in a way that is really going to help us out when we're doing that kind of texture animation and make sure things are perfectly clean looking when that kind of animation happens. You can see a really nice preview of what that kind of looks like in Blender right here. You can see right here, if we literally like take the UV grid and put it on top of the texture, you can see that every 4 squares, one part of the UV grid is kind of lining up with one of these faces, because it's very important to have it cleanly laid out like this before you get them in engine. We talked about this in the eye tutorial, but if you want posable eyes, you're going to need to make your eyes transparent. Make absolutely sure that when you're looking inside of your character model, that the white of your eyes, make absolutely sure that you can see this white of your eyes as you're looking into your character's head, because again, you have to make sure your face orientation with that visibility option enabled. If these look red, when you export this in engine, it's going to look really strange. And what we landed on here was kind of doing a inverted box where you just chopped out the front for this part of the model. And by doing this, we're able to get eye whites, low poly eye whites that worked really well for our model here. So might be something worth considering. And another thing to keep in mind is we are separating her mouth material and the mouth geometry from her face, which is just everything above the mouth. You can see those are with 3 materials on this model total. Not saying this is like the right way to do it. This is just how we did it. Because you do want to keep this as low as possible of a material count for performance reasons. But in our case here, we did a body material, a face material, and a mouth material. And if we go to Blender to see what that looks like, you're going to see that if I enable my textures here once again and hide this, and now if we go to that part of the materials here, you're going to see if I select everything in the body, this is what those faces look like. But if I select the face, this is just going to be the top half of the face here, so right there, and the mouth is just the bottom half of the mouth. Not only are those separate materials, these are also separate objects. So those 2 are separate objects, but everything else other than the irises are combined together. And that's important. You want to have as few objects that are separate as possible. Now, I've taught you to kind of separate objects while you're modeling for easier UV unwrapping and workflows in general. And that's still absolutely true. You should separate your character into as many different, unique models as possible while you're modeling it. However, when you're just about done and you're gonna export something to a game engine, I would highly recommend having, 4 objects or even less, ideally, for performance reasons in VRChat. Just because your performance rank is going to be a lot better. You don't want a bunch of individual unique objects because that is not going to be good for your performance rank, as we talked about earlier. We just want to make sure if you're having an animated mouth and eye texture that not only the objects separated, but the materials are separated in the same way. And she is, again, set up with 4 different objects here. The body, what we call the eyes, aka the irises. This is the face mesh. And this is the mouth mesh. That is every object on LoveChan here. Not saying that's the only way to do it, but that's just kind of how we set up things here. And keep in mind that opposable eyes require custom bones. They require the iris and the eye white, which we talk about in the video on how to make rigged low poly eyes. Something else to keep in mind though is that for our skeleton here, you can see that if we look at these eye bones right here, these are perfectly perpendicular, like 90 degrees forward, which is extremely important. You can see right here, these are children of the head bone. So they follow the head bone and they're like perfectly 90 degrees forward, like in an arrow, which is really, really important to keep in mind. That's kind of how we want to set up eye bones if you're looking to do eye tracking. Again, make sure to do power of 2 texture sizes. Use transparent textures so you can see that this is transparent right here. The white of her eye is transparent because we want to have posable eyes with eye tracking and all that fun stuff for VRChat. We want to make sure things follow the UV grid clearly, use power of 2 texture sizes and all that stuff. Just reference LoveChan's VRChan. No, that's pretty good. I should use that. Just reference LoveChan's VRChat skeleton, which you can download for free in the description below, and all the phonemes that come with it if you want to reference those. So before exporting anything to a game engine, make sure that you are in object mode. Just press Ctrl+A after you select everything, apply all transforms to your armature and all your objects because they can all get transform data, which can get messed up as you're exporting. Before you rig your character for VRChat, it's actually ideal to do a T-pose, so kind of lining them up like this. Currently, LoveChan is in what's called an A pose, which is fine. It's not a huge deal to fix this later, and you'll see how we do that. But it's slightly more ideal if your character's in an T-pose like this for Unity. So if you have to rig your character again anyway, make sure to do that. Put them into a T-pose. Keep in mind face orientation. Make sure you don't have n-gons. Make sure you don't have duplicate verts by using merge by distance if you're having issues rigging or exporting and all that. But yeah, after all this is said and done, we're going to have a fully animation ready VRChat character with animatable eyes, animatable phonemes for their mouth as you speak, super fun emotes and all that good stuff, physics bones, the whole works. So I hope you're looking forward to that, and I'll see you in the next part of the series.